I died when I was 11, and that was the moment I stopped living. It was only for a couple of seconds, but those seconds changed my life. It was the moment I stopped being scared of death and started being scared of life. By 11 years old, I'd had a brain tumor, a punctured intestine, a cyst in my brain, and I lived with a condition called hydrocephalus. In fact, I still do, which means I have a metal valve in the back of my brain and a plastic tube that runs down the back of my neck. By 11 years old, I'd had 13 surgeries. I'd had more surgeries than years I'd been alive. I hated my body. Not a soft kind of hatred, but a real raw. I want to stab you with a pitchfork kind of hatred. I didn't just hate my body for what it looked like, I hated it for what it wouldn't let me do. I hated it for every time I had to sit out of sports, couldn't go to school, was pulled away from my friends. I hated it for the fact that it put me in pain every single day. And most of all, I hated it for the fact that when I was 10 years old and I wore a bikini for the first time, people pointed and stared at the scars across my stomach, the scars from my surgeries, with looks of shock, pity, and horror. I hated my body for making me different in appearance and ability. I was born into a body that did not work. It stopped working before even the age of 1. I'm essentially the runt of the litter. I'm the bike with a missing wheel, the teddy with a missing eye, or the handbag with a strap loose. At 18 years old, in a room full of my closest girlfriends, that's actually how I describe my body. A damaged handbag, one that no one actually wanted, would break time and time again, and after exhausting all repairs, would be thrown away early. You see, most of you have bodies that work. They work so well you don't even think about it. Well, my body did not work, and trust me, I thought about it every single day from the age of 11. I thought about it almost thoughtlessly, but there was a moment when I was 15 when I realized just how much. I was walking out of a sports lesson with a friend, and we were walking past a door, and she caught her reflection, and she went, "Damn, I'm ugly." This was a girl whose body I wanted. This was a girl whose body I envied. And yet she sounded just like me. So I made a decision. I was going to stop bitching about my body. I couldn't control my thoughts, but I could control what I said out loud, and I was just going to stop vocalizing my negative opinions about myself. Don't get me wrong, I still hated my body, but the whole world didn't need to know about it. At 19 years old, the inevitable happened, and I landed back in hospital, this time for an obstructed bowel, 2 more surgeries. In my second year of university, 6 weeks this time, bedridden, unable to eat, drink, shower, walk, and now my body really didn't work. Like everyone else, I thought I'd live till 90, and right before my very eyes, I saw 90 shrink down to 19. I thought about the time a friend had invited me over to his house, and I said no, because it was a 20-minute walk and I couldn't be bothered. I thought about the time a friend invited me shopping, and I said no because it was cold, because it was raining. I thought about the time a friend invited me to the gym, and I said no because I didn't want to be the fat girl in dance class. I thought about every time I complained about my flabby thighs, and now I couldn't walk. I thought about every time I complained about my bingo wings, and now I couldn't move my arms. I thought about every time I complained about my scars, and now I realize their purpose. My scars are from my surgeries. They start on my head, there are a few on my neck, there are a few on my ankles, but the bulk of them are across my stomach. I've been told they look like a smiley face, a winky face on particularly bloated days, but to me, they'll always look like an incomplete game of noughts and crosses. My scars were my largest insecurity. I thought of every time I'd been ashamed of them, embarrassed of them, whether it was taking my top off in front of friends in a changing room or taking my top off in front of a boy for the first time. I thought about the elaborate explanations I would go through to make them feel comfortable about my body. I had been wrong this entire time. I was so focused on how my body didn't work like everyone else's that I forgot it clearly does work. I mean, I'm here, aren't I? My body didn't just work, it overworked. I survived 15 surgeries. I've had more organs operated on than I haven't, and I'm still here. I literally took on death at 11 and won, and I still didn't think my body was good enough. My body hadn't been fighting me. My body had been fighting for me. We talk about having a relationship with your body. Well, if it was actually a relationship, it wasn't my body that wanted the divorce, it was my brain. When I eventually came out of hospital, I had this new energy for life. I was like a newborn, amazed by the simplest of things. When I started learning how to walk, it wasn't enough. I wanted to run. I would try. Nurses would chase after me as my dressing robe, or what they call a dignity robe, flew open, exposing my ass to the world. I was going to run on behalf of people who couldn't, and not just that, I was going to do every single thing that had ever scared me. I started hiking. I went to dance class for the first time. I went on roller coasters. I started paddleboarding and horse riding again. I started living my life again. I stopped apologizing for my body. I stopped using my illness as an excuse. And I stopped explaining my scars to strangers. And yes, that meant I took my top off for the first time without a disclaimer. But I wasn't the only one making disclaimers. I remember one conversation in hospital between my mum and my godmother, and they were sitting off in the corner talking about their wrinkles. Anti-aging cream. You know what anti-aging is? Dying. The alternative to aging is literally dying. Aging is a privilege. I went back to university, and one night all my friends were talking about sex, and not a single person had sex with the light on. One friend in particular told me about how she used to make her boyfriend wait in the bathroom. She'd get into bed, cover herself completely with a duvet, turn all the lights off, and then, and only then, was he allowed in the room. In the morning, she would sneak off to the bathroom and apply a full face of makeup because she was so scared of what her boyfriend would say if he saw her makeup-free. I remember being in a cab home from a club, and my friend had just been rejected by a boy, and she was crying. And she said, "I know I'm no Cinderella, but am I really Medusa? It must be because I'm fat." She was a size 12. All these conversations were heartbreaking. What was worse than hating my body was seeing how much the people I love hate theirs as well. 97% of women have a I hate my body moment every single day. 10-year-olds are more afraid of being fat than losing both their parents, cancer, or war. We have normalized hating ourselves, and it's starting young. I needed to do something about it. So I completed my degree in psychology. I got trained and qualified as a life coach, but no matter how many clients I had, it didn't feel enough. We keep talking about this body image crisis the world is going through. Well, it didn't feel like I was even making a dent. So I launched my campaign online, Scarred, Not Scared, doing the last thing I was scared to do, the first thing that had started my body struggles, my body woes to begin with. There were still the looks of shock, not so much pity, but definitely horror. But I didn't care anymore because I was doing this for me. I was launching this campaign leading from the front, showing it's possible to go from hating your body to being happy in your body. And we weren't going to do it next year. We weren't going to do it next month. We weren't going to do it I'll start on Monday. We were going to do it right now. Having worked in this industry for 3 years now and worked with thousands on body image, I found two things change when you practice that muscle of body confidence. First, the opportunities and events that you used to say no to because of what you fear you would look like turn into yeses. Your body and your appearance stops being a factor in your decisions at all. And number two, the amount of time and energy you spend thinking about your body dramatically reduces. You stop thinking about your body and you start using it. 9 in 10 women opt out of important life activities when they don't like what they look like. Whilst those statistics are seriously depressing, it does mean one good thing. You aren't alone. Just like with my journey, it was long, it was complicated, it was messy, it was a process. But it started somewhere, with a 15-year-old girl making one small decision to stop bitching about her body. Now I know the impact of that decision 9 years later, but back then it was just one thought, one choice, one decision that happened in one moment. So let's just take a moment right now. I want you to imagine a world where girls are growing up not just knowing their beauty, but their worth, where eating disorders are on the decline, body shame doesn't exist, people aren't afraid of going makeup-free, older women can age in peace, and people are having sex with the light on. I want you to imagine a world where that 10-year-old girl with a smiley face full of scars on her belly can have a smile on her face as well. Because for that world to become a reality, for it to be possible, the change starts with us first. So let's do this together, today. Let's just make one choice. Choose today to reclaim our bodies. Thank you.